Oh, now Pete got really fancy.
Can't be stood up.
Nice. All right. So today's training is going to be on doing a buyer tour in Moxi Present. Last month we did our training on neighborhood tours. So this is going to be a lot more specific for when you're ready to put your buyer in the car or if they're going to meet you at homes to view. So this is going to be a much nicer, interactive option for you and your buyers versus printing out MLS sheets and having all these different pieces of paper that you're fumbling through, and they're probably just going to end up in the back of somebody's car, right? That's usually probably what ends up happening. So I'm going to show you guys how we're going to do that today and how nice this looks in Moxi. So as normal, we're on mycbdust.com and we're going to click into Moxi Works. It takes just a second to load, but we want to click into presentations. Presentations really is probably my favorite tool out of all of the Moxi products, just because you can do so much with it. All right, so these are all the different presentations that I have already created. So we are going to create a new one for today's purposes. So let's go to create new. See your different options. We're going to go right here to the middle and hit buyer tour. And then there's a default template that's 9 pages. That's the one we're going to use. And give it a name. So we're going to pretend Todd and Michelle are going to be looking at new houses. So let's save it as their name. And it'll take just a second. It's loading behind the scenes. If you can see my circle there. Okay, a couple of things here on this home page. This picture right here can certainly stay in the presentation. This is going to be your default picture on the homepage of the presentation that your buyer sees, but today we can get a little bit creative and fun. We're going to be looking at lake homes with our buyers. So I went to Canva and downloaded a free image of a lake, saved that to my desktop, and I'm pulling up this picture here. Again, it'll take just a second, but just to do something a little fancier, there's my image. Doesn't that look beautiful? This is what we're hopefully going to find for them. All right, next thing on this home page is this NREX drive time. You don't have to use this, but this would be a great feature if, say, you had a buyer who wants to be a certain distance from their workplace or a certain distance from school. Or let's say I heard an example today of somebody said, we need to be X amount of minutes away from grandma because she's our babysitter. So it could be grandma's house, could be our starting location. So for our purposes today, I'm just going to put in my office location here in Mount Juliet, and I'm going to hit set location. And then I'm going to scroll over here to the bottom right and hit continue. Now, we are assuming for our purposes that our buyers have already hopefully been on our Moxi website. They have been searching on there themselves. They have come up with the homes that they would like to view. So they are going to send you a list of either addresses and or MLS numbers. So we're assuming that we already have those from our buyers. So you can certainly type in the addresses here if you have them. I'm going to switch over to typing in the MLS numbers. But I also at the same time am going to need to have RealTracs open. So can you guys see my RealTracs screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the 4 properties that we're going to be looking at today. So the reason I have to be into RealTracs is, of course, because we still have to make appointments, and we do that scheduling through RealTracs. So I've got that open for this purpose because we're going to need that here in a minute as well. So again, I can either take the MLS numbers or I can take the addresses. Probably no real rhyme or reason either way. But for those of you who have done my trainings before, when we type in an MLS number in Moxi, we have to put RTC in front of the MLS number.
That's for real tracks.
Yep, exactly. Jackson, I don't think y'all have to put your code in there, do you, Jennifer? Jennifer's shaking her head no. So they just put in the MLS number there if you're a Jackson agent. All right, so I've copied that one and I'm just literally going to do them one at a time. This very well could be quicker typing in the addresses since I have them, but just so you guys see this. Demonstrate and show you what I'm doing, especially since we only have 4. If you had more, you would probably want to just type in the different addresses. And you can definitely type all of these in one at a time if you want to, but I think this is a little bit more efficient, just putting commas in between each number. RGC in there. All right, then I'm going to click on the magnifying glass and hopefully all 4 of my houses are going to pop up here. Yay, they did. All right, so now to add them into our tour, if you'll notice here, kind of in the left center of the screen, our listings say 0. So what I have to do from here is I have to click on each picture, and there's a plus button here, and I have to add each one of these. And now you'll notice I clicked on that. My listings are now have gone up to 1. So I click on all 4 and now all 4 are going to be in my presentation. And you see, of course, you've got a map view over here of the 4 as well.
And Michelle, if you do want to include every one of them, there's an include all button. So that saves a little bit of time, right?
There you go. Perfect. Yep. Right here is what Jennifer pointed out. Certainly do that. All right. Next, we're going to hit continue. And then we are going to have our 4 listings pop up in our tour order here, except we only have 1, so not a problem. Let's go back to search. Sometimes that happens, bumps off for whatever reason. So now we'll hit include all. Now we're back to 4 listings. Try that again. There we go. Give it just a second. They should all pop up here for us.
Michelle, does it put it in drive order or just?
I'm gonna show that. I'm gonna show that to you. It doesn't, it defaults to, hang on, I had a thought and then I just lost it. Yeah, it actually puts them in the order that I put them in when I typed them in. So in order to move that now, and this is one of the things that I was going to point out, Tom, is what's really nice about this is if you look over here on your map, you're all over the board. Starting, if we started here in Hendersonville, this is number 1. It's taken us over here, and then we've got to go down here and here. So that's not necessarily the most efficient order that I want to be in. So before I ever even make my appointments, what I want to do now is I want to go up here to the top left and I want to hit change order. And we're starting from my office in Mount Juliet. So I want to make number 3, number 1, because that's going to be closest to my office. So all I do is simply drag this up to the top. And now you see that that changed to number 1. And then I know I want to go here next. That does not need to be number 4. That needs to now go to number 2. Just make sure it's weird when it drags up there, but just make sure you got the right one. Then I want 2 to 4. So we need 4 to change to 3. And then we're going to finish up at this one in Hendersonville. Okay, easy enough. You hit save order. And now we've changed them. So as far as scheduling goes, let's say we're going to start our tour at 10 o'clock. So another trick you have to know is in order to get, this is the one thing that I wish you could do straight in Moxi, but they don't have this feature yet, is I want to know, okay, from my office to this first address, how long is that going to take me? So let's say it's going to take me 15 minutes from my office. So we're going to say that our tour starts tomorrow, and it's going to start at 10 o'clock is when our first showing is at this property. So then I need to get directions from Catherine Adele Lane to Point Barton. So basically I just put it in MapQuest or something similar, and I'll type in how long is this going to take. Let's say it takes 20 minutes, and then I'll schedule my showing times accordingly. All right, so I'm going to plug all those in when we're going to meet. Let's just say for now, we're going to do this every 30 minutes. In reality, with this far of a drive, you would need to give yourself much more time, but I'm just going to plug some stuff in here. 10 o'clock, and then one more. 11:30 for that one. Now, you don't need to pay attention really to any of this over here on the left-hand side. This is not really relevant to what we're doing at all. This would be more if you're doing a CMA, but that's not what we're trying to do today. So don't worry about any of this over on the left-hand side. So now that we've got our appointment times in there, we're going to hit continue. And then your buyer tour is basically made at this point. And it's ready to send to your client. So I'm going to show you what these other pages are here in just a few minutes. But now that we're ready to send it out, we've got a couple of different options here, and we don't need to send this in PDF format to them. We just need to send an email directly to them where they're going to be able to click into the body of the email and open up this presentation. All right, and then you may or may not have them in your contacts already, but once that's in there, we're going to do buyer tour for Tuesday, name it whatever you want. If you'd like to put a message in here, you certainly can. And then down here in the lower right, you'll see that you can send yourself a copy as well. So I'm going to hit send, and then we're going to jump over to my email. It usually takes it about 2 or 3 minutes to come through. I will tell you guys to make a note. Mine happened to go to my inbox, luckily, but you will see when this email comes through, it's probably going to have a message on there that says it looks like spam. So here it is. Oh, good. That didn't take very long. So I'm going to click in here, and this is what I'm talking about, this big yellow bar right here. Be careful with this message. Maybe a spoofed message, so it is obviously not spam. So we're going to click look safe, but keep that in mind that if your buyer does not see the actual tour within a few minutes, tell them to look in their spam folder. All right, so pretend you are your buyer and you now have this email that you've pulled up on your mobile device. And one of the great things about Moxi is it is very mobile friendly. So what you see on your desktop looks very, very similar to what you're going to see on your phone as well. So you as the agent also, when you get to the house, this is great because you just go to your email and you're going to hit view buyer tour. And again, this saves you so much paperwork. It saves you all the fussing back and forth, trying to figure out what's what. And we all know if you've got 4 houses to look at here, and each listing has, let's say, 30 to 40 pictures on it, what are you going to do? Print out all 40 pictures of each listing and attach those in MLS sheets and hand them to your buyer? I don't know, maybe some people do, but that seems to be a big waste of trees. With this, you don't have to worry about that because you're going to have all of the pictures, all of the details, all of the specs right in your hand. All right, so this is what they're going to see. You see my nice little lake picture here is going to be on their cover page. And of course, it's got your picture if you've uploaded it onto Desk. So this is what they're going to see on page 2. They're going to see the map and they're going to see the 4 houses. So we know we're starting here. So again, super interactive. They've got their phone in their hands or their tablet. They're going to click on this first listing. A couple of really cool features to point out right away. up here, right underneath of the address, you're gonna see calculate drive time and directions. So your buyer, if they have this pulled up, they can click right on to calculate drive time. And they can see based on the location that you put in your report. Remember at the beginning, I used my address at the office, but let's say we needed to put in their office for them or their home address now. Whatever your starting point is, they can get in their car when they're leaving their house and they can click on calculate drive time and it's going to take them straight there. Okay, so next thing, when we go, you go up here in the upper left, when we go to listing 2, when we're ready for that, and they calculate drive time, excuse me, when they click directions, it's going to automatically take them from the location that they're at to the next location. So I think that's super cool that based on GPS, it knows that, okay, I'm at Catherine Adele right now, and we're going to Point Barton after that. So it gives me the directions straight there. I don't have to get into my Google Maps. I don't have to get out and go to my Apple Maps. It's all right here in your presentation for you. A couple of other features while they're walking into the house, they can pull this up. And again, in lieu of the MLS sheet, they're going to have all of the specs and the pictures right in front of them. So they can scroll through each of these pictures while they've got this listing pulled up. They're going to see all the specs. They're going to get price per square foot, school information. They've got all the comments that are on the MLS listing. So all of that is right there for them. Second thing, which I love this, I did this with some buyers a few weeks ago. And if you notice right here under the price, you've got this option to give a review. So what I had them do after each house that we looked at, they pulled up the listing and they rated it. So it's a 5-star rating system, and you'll see I made these notes myself, but so for this particular house, I gave it a 3-star. I'm able to type in notes as to what I thought about the house. And it's a great way for your buyers to remember what they either loved or didn't love about the house. So again, instead of having a notebook or the MLS sheets, they can write all of this here. And then when they go and pull up that presentation, when they get home later, they've got all their notes right there. And they can say, oh yeah, that's that house that we really liked. So I love that feature. When they click on this and they fill out this review, you are going to get an email automatically with that review on that property. So I love that. That's super cool. And then another nice feature to point out about this is because you have live data in these presentations, if I send this to my buyers today and a house goes under contract tonight, and they pull up those same houses tomorrow, they're going to see that that one house is now contingent. Whereas if I had just printed off my MLS sheets or just sent them a link of something online, they're not going to know that, right? Necessarily, unless they've gotten an alert or something on their phone. But they can pull this report up at any time moving forward in the future, and they are going to have the active status of that listing based on when they pull it up. In fact, I'll show you guys this. If I go back into my presentations home, I've got another one in here that I did for these buyers right here. And you'll see it was July, somewhere around the 26th, I think is when we did this tour. And every listing but one is now either under contract or sold. There's only one house that's still active. So you can scroll back through here, and where all of these, when I sent this to them, they were all active. Look, now it shows me their updated statuses. Okay, any questions on those so far? You'll see here where they gave me the different reviews on the houses as well.
Did they contract on one of those?
So interestingly, they tried to on this one, and
That's 5 stars.
yeah, exactly. Tried to on that one, and then ended up getting it had been on the market for a while, and it was one of those, as soon as we put in an offer, somebody else did also, and the other people got the house, so. But good news is that we do have another one under contract, so they're buying new construction now. All right, so let me show you one other thing. My purpose was to be pretty fast with this one today. Let's go back in the presentation that we're doing for today's purposes. I told you guys there's some other pages on here. And Moxi gives you different options to compare homes for all of your different learning styles out there. So you might have some people that are more data driven. You have some people that are more visual driven. You have some people that like graphs. So Moxi gives all the people different ways to visualize what's going on here. So you'll see this first page we've already seen. It just gives them in a nice little picture box order that you can scroll through. This one automatically creates basically a CMA for you. It shows you, compares all the different specs, bathroom, bedroom counts, compares square footages, days on market. So it's nice that you can see all those statistics right in one spot and do a side by side right here. So that's that one. Shows you some different schools. This would be helpful if you were, say, everything was in Wilson County and they were really wanting to be in the Mount Juliet high schools. You could definitely easily see the comparisons there. They might be able to eliminate something pretty quickly. Then you also have this view. So basically line by line. And then this is kind of nice because it will also, if they really are, let's say, trying to get they're trying to get a deal on something, they're trying to compare one price to another. You see the different pricing options on here. And this one I really like because it shows you the price versus the days on market. So if I'm a buyer and I'm looking at these two days on market, 5 days and 9 days versus these two, which are 93 and 113. What do you think my chances are of being able to get something for under asking price? Which one am I going to have the best luck on? Having some negotiating power.
Right, too.
What's
More
that?
days on market.
The more days on market, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, so these two, if I'm wanting to, I've got some houses that are pretty similar in terms of how much I like them. I might want to focus on one of these two and see if I can get an even better deal versus these. They're probably not quite ready for price reductions at this point. So you're going to know on the front end that you got to go in pretty strong. And this does work for us as realtors, right? Like this provides information in a nice visual form where it helps us explain what we try and tell them about days on market versus price, all those things.
And Michelle, can they then click on those little
Mhm.
pop-ups that come up and it'll take them to the detail information about that one? Yeah.
Yep, there you go. Sure does. And then this one is price compared to size. So obviously we have quite a range here from 33.18 to 58.43. So normally in most worlds, you're probably not going to have nearly that much of a difference. But if you had houses, say in more of a quote unquote cookie cutter neighborhood, you could definitely compare your prices per square foot here. You'll see which ones you get more bang for your buck. Okay, and then your very last page is a nice bio page with all of your contact information over here on the right. And then talks about why you're so good at what you do. And thank you for using me. And again, just for all of y'all who I drill this into and Pete drills it into, this information gets put in on your My CV Desk home page up in the upper right-hand corner where my picture is up here, I wanted to change any of that information or put it in for the first time, I'm gonna click on my profile, and of course, I've got an error message. Dang, I almost made it the whole way without an error message. Oh, well. Okay, so normally you would see my picture and my bio here. What I'm gonna have to do is log out and log back in, but that's where you would change all that information. So this, we go back here, that all feeds into your different Moxi platforms, all of that information. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, I didn't want this to be long, but I hope you guys can see that I feel like this is a much more modern version of a buyer tour, and I think it's going to make you look really good for your people, and it's going to make things a lot more efficient for you. You could certainly add pages. I think the one other thing I did want to say is if we click on the pencil here and we open the presentation back up and I go to pages here, you can certainly add anything in here that you would like to. We're going to go under the assumption that for the most part, they've already seen your bio, they've seen information about the area that you have sent them. But if you wanted to add some things like local parks or local school information, local restaurants, some of those favorite things, you can always go in here and create different pages. You can add videos in here. You can upload stats. If you wanted to upload real track stats, you could certainly do that. We've looked at how to build these pages on other trainings, so I would encourage you to go to the YouTube channel and or Level Up, and you can learn how to do that a little more intensively, but you could certainly make this a little cooler if you wanted to. We had our Business Boost Academy last week, and Tom, I think you were even saying it, talking about when you're out with buyers and how so many people are moving to new areas and how important it is for agents to know these areas that they're showing their potential clients. As you know, you talked about taking them on different routes maybe and pointing out different features. Like I remember the buyers that I looked at Lebanon with a few weeks ago, I made sure to take them by one particular park. Then I took them by the town square because it's really cute. So you could definitely put that information in here as well, of just kind of some, hey, check out these hot spots while you're driving around, or here's a great place to have lunch, or here's an awesome spot to have drinks when you're done. So you could certainly get even more creative with it. But even if you just did this very simple tour, I think you're going to set yourself up ahead of your competition quite easily.
I'm sure all the chamber sites, if it's somebody from out of town, you could put videos from the chamber site about the city or whatever. Just slap that in the presentation. They've got it all in one place.
Yep. Super easy. Very much so. So what else? Any other questions? I hope you like it. I hope it was, you see how very user-friendly this was. And I'm not just saying this because it's our stuff, but it really does look good on your phone when you've got it pulled up too.
That's the thing. If you go out and show 10 houses, they don't remember what had what.
Exactly.
It's true.
Shuffling through papers, checking through notes if they made any. But if you lead them towards leaving notes and give them a gut 1 to 5 rating to all of them, it's much more efficient to getting them on paper.
Well, and the other thing that you could certainly do too, because this is so easy to use and so mobile friendly, is let's just say you got to the first house and they were like, absolutely hate it, take it off the list. You can pull this presentation up very easily on your end, and you could just simply remove this house like right then, and it's out of the presentation. You're done. So very easy to change things on the fly and as you go.
And Michelle, if you send this to your buyers on the front side before you've even started, they've already got questions, things, and that's what we've been trying to talk to our agents about, is give them as much information as you can on the front end, So they ask the right
Mhm.
questions, and maybe you've even eliminated a couple of houses before you ever go.
Yeah,
So that's what we've been trying to instill in our folks. Some of this stuff is really good information for them on the front side.
yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. And they may see pretty quickly that they could plug in that initial address of, how many times have we said, oh, I need to be 30 minutes from my job, which is in downtown Nashville. And you can plug in that drive option and they can see pretty easily, depending on different times of days. And, that could even be something you could encourage them to do as well as, all right, we're looking at this at 10 o'clock right now, but I would encourage you to come back here at 5 o'clock and pull up the directions at that point and see how long it's going to take you to get from here to there. That's something you could easily do as well.
You were saying, Michelle, so if they're not in the same car with you, sure they can follow you, but you were clicking on directions at some point in time from house to house.
Yes.
So it just using GPS as to where you are now and giving you directions from your current location to the next house.
Correct. So let's say we're in the car at this house. We've just seen it. This is where we are. We're sitting in the driveway and we want to go to property 2 now. So they're going to click on this arrow up here in the top left corner. And click on the arrow from their presentation. And then they're going to click directions here. And of course, I'm not there right now, but it is supposed to automatically plug in that first house's property here for them. That's how it's supposed to work anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, which could save everybody a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank y'all for coming.
Thanks, Michelle.
We'll get this up on Level Up and on the YouTube channel. And yeah, as always, let me know what questions you might have.
Will do.
All right. Y'all have a good week.
You too. Bye.
Bye.